Hello. We are here in front of Brian Dempsey's, where right now inside some very important people are talking about the Bayside social media pages, the life and times of Bayside, the Bell Boulevard pages, the Bayside Village page, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to be changing things up a little bit. The way things have been going, it's just been kind of haphazard. You get on, you talk, you make comments, discussions start, discussions stop, but we want to do something a little bit more organized and hopefully a little bit more productive. So we're going to be having these forums, and where everyone can come and a designated time, like a Thursday night, 9 o'clock, come onto the forums and talk to us about what your ideas are. If you want to talk about politics, we'll have a political discussion, but we want to do it in a little bit more formalized way. And also, we want to do it in a way that has fun. We've done this before. Bayside and Bayside Live TV was the first in not just the country, but really the first in the world to create a web TV channel for a town, which we've done, and we're the first to have done that right here in Bayside with Bayside Live TV. And we were the first to have an interactive social media group where people who live in Bayside can come down and join us in Dempsey's. We'd packed the place. Everyone was down, drinking, having fun, and getting in a table and rotating and telling us their stories, telling us who they were, how long they've been in Bayside, and just kind of introducing themselves. And then...
We're back, baby! In the flesh!
These guys, hey!
Bayside Live! And my top is my boy.
Thank you. Have a good day, man. As long as I do this, I'll never be lonely. So that was fun. Well, at least, and it wasn't quite like it was during the pandemic. If people might remember, one night I was walking down the double yellow line, middle of the pandemic, quarantine, nobody around, not a bus, not a sound, just the lights going on and off, the street lights going on and off, and dead silence. It was so eerie, it was like the Twilight Zone. But we had gotten 40,000 views of some of those things. But this one night, this car came up and went past, and they kind of waved and said, "Hey, you're great," like they knew me, like that guy did. And then so I was kind of waving, and then they kind of turned around, and I realized, oh no, I don't think these guys are friendly. So I kind of stood my ground a little bit, and then I tried to tell the guy, by the way, you're on live TV. You're on live. He said, you better not be filming me. I said, well, you better go away because we're on live. But it was a little hairy, and a lot of people were worried about me. But I scared them away. We're going to go back inside, and you're going to meet Kathy O'Hara, who's been running our Life and Times of Bayside page, with Christine, who's unfortunately moving away. Our Christine is moving away. But Kathy's been manning it with her, and the Life and Times page. Camille Bast has been watching over our Bayside Queens page for a long time and doing a great job. And it's a lot of work. People do not appreciate how much work it is to run a large group. And Camille has just been doing a great job. So she's inside. Kathy's inside. Shannon is here. Shannon's a great contributor to our Bayside Queens and Life and Times of Bayside's conversations. She's inside. And also Diane, also known as Disaster. Diane's a great contributor to us. She's a fun person, great personality, and she's producing some shows of her own. She's inside. I'm going to bring you in now, and we're going to talk together, and we're going to share with you our ideas about how the Bayside social media pages should move forward. So please stick with us, listen to what everybody's got to say, and then if you have any comments, any recommendations, or if you'd like to join us and participate in it, please do. We would love that. This Bayside Live TV and our social media pages is all about community. And community enhancement, and letting people get to know each other better, get to know who we are, how we think, and share our ideas and broaden our horizon of understanding. So let's go inside, and we'll join Kathy, Diane, Shannon, and Diz. Kathy, Camille, Diane, Shannon, and Diz. Okay, so come with us. We'll check out what they're saying inside. Right now, we have this wonderful panel of very influential and very wonderful people that have been helping us with our social media for a long time. We have Kathy O'Hara, and she's been moderating the Life and Times of Bayside page, and we have Camille M. Bast, who's been one of the greatest contributors to our efforts, and she's been with us and dedicated for years, and she's got that finesse and this wonderful spirit that's been very valuable to all of us, so I'm very grateful to them. And we have Shannon, who's a wonderful contributor, and then we have Diane, who you've seen, Diane, aka Diz Astor, and she's been helping and producing some shows, and she's got a show of her own coming up. So I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, but I just want to let you know, this is kind of an announcement of a new era in Bayside Live TV, where we're changing the kind of programming to give specific times for specific shows, and also to announce this series of live forums where you can be able to come down to Brian Dempsey's or whatever venue we choose to go to at that particular night. But it's going to be once a week. It's going to be a live show, and you can come down and join us and be on camera with us and discuss everything, or you can come online virtually, and we're going to give you a little button that you can click, and you can come on with your face and join us virtually and talk. Or you can just type in your comments and we'll try to address them. But they might get addressed last. First is the people who come on. You're going to see a monitor here, and we're going to talk to everybody in our groups. And we're going to have different topics that we're going to talk about. So first, the forum. I'm going to pass this around, let everybody introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about how the future of Bayside Live TV and our social media is going to go. So first, Kathy O'Hara. Kathy, by the way, Kathy, there's two distinctions for me that are important to know. Kathy is my family. Kathy and I grew up together right across the street and have known each other since we were born. Yeah. So we've known each other for a very long time, and Shannon is her daughter. So this part of these people are my family, and I love them to death. And then Diz is wonderful because she's been helping with the creativity and doing stuff with us. So these are very important people to us. But Kathy has another distinction. Kathy, and it's one of the reasons I made her the moderator of the Life and Times of Bayside page, Kathy is the only person that I know in the entire world who can talk to me and give a completely diametrically opposed view, contrarian, and say something completely different that I would never have agreed with. And the way she presents it, I've never been able to disagree with her once. She's the only person who can actually change my opinion, and by saying to Greg, I think you need to look at it this way, and she'll present something that's completely different than the way I was looking at it, and I'll go, oh my God, Kathy, you know something? You're right. You're right. So I'm going to give the microphone to her, but the only person in the world that I could never argue with anything she's ever said. Kathy O'Hara.
Yeah, I am Kathy O'Hara, and we played I Declare War in like 1965 on 218th Street. Anyway, all these decades later, I am the moderator of the Life and Times page. I raised my family mostly here in Bayside. I love Bayside. What a great place to live. And every day is fun in Bayside. So on the Life and Times page, we enjoy old pictures of Bayside and talking about Bayside. We also enjoy a little bit of politics because politics comes to Bayside. And my job is to convince people of my point of view because you know how people are like that. So this is Shannon, and Shannon contributes to all the Bayside pages as well as raising a family.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm a Bayside resident as well. I run another group online, and I love contributing to the Bayside Life and Times page. I think we all have a lot of fun debating and discussing local issues, and it's a good way to stay updated on what goes on in Bayside and a way to connect with your neighbors, like Camille.
I am Camille Bastian, and I moderate the Bayside Queens page, and I love it. And we are a little bit different on the Bayside Queens page because we don't allow political posts. And it is a very interesting concept on the page, And I spend a lot of time removing posts, but we really do like to have the input of everybody in Bayside. And we like all the different opinions, and we just like to keep it nice and sane.
Hi everybody, I'm Disaster, aka Aunt Diz, and you've seen me before with Gregg Sullivan. He's the Dean Martin, I'm the Jerry Lewis. But I'm going to be doing a show called It Is What It Is with Aunt Diz. And that's because I know a little bit about everything and not enough about one thing, but that doesn't stop me from talking. And I'm going to come up with topics that I'm asking you what you want to hear about. But I'm also going to bring up things that I want you to hear about. And my first topic is going to be narcissistic, toxic relationships. Now, I'm not an expert on it, book-wise, but I am street-wise, and I think I've learned a lifetime of lessons. And if I can save somebody out there from getting into a very bad narcissistic relationship, seeing the red flags, or help you get out of it, or if there's something that I don't know and you can help me, help other people, we're going to enjoy that when we do the show. So back to you, Gregg.
What a worthy goal.
So you look at some of the content that's going to come out. It's fun. We also have a music show. We have someone who's going to be our music reporter and interviewing all the musicians of Bayside on a regular basis. But I want to go back to something. Our whole purpose is to be educational, to help broaden our horizon of understanding through listening and learning from other views other than our own. To not be stuck seeing the views of the world, seeing your view of the world through your own filters and your own limitations. Bad. But we here in Bayside, we want to open up our minds, and we want to listen to other people and listen to intelligent people who have opposing views and learn from them. I've learned so much from Kathy. I told you I can't disagree with anything she's ever said, even though I didn't think that way before. But the object is we want to benefit each other, and we don't want to show ourselves in a light that is unattractive. Bayside is a wonderful town. I've loved it. I love being back, and I love what we're doing in Bayside. I've had the best memories of my life have come from and I'm so grateful for having grown up in Bayside. And we want to make a wonderful contribution. I want to also address the nature of our behavior and way we interact with each other. There's absolutely no censorship of anyone's politics or anyone's views about anything. We're here to share those views. That is the most important purpose of these social media sites that we have. But the only way we're going to be effective with that is if everyone continues to remain polite and respectful to everybody else. And if we have to block you and kick you out, it's because you weren't that. I just want Camille to address it. You've been, longer than anybody else, you've been helping moderate this site. And you've seen what happens when people get on and they're arguing with each other. And what's really unfortunate, and it's like you can't stand when you see it happen. You'll start off with a really nice conversation, and there's something going on in exchange, and then there'll be a disagreement, and then some nice exchange of differing views, and next thing you know, it goes to name calling, and then bitterness, and then instead of people addressing the actual topic, they resort to, well, if they don't have something really good to say, they resort to name calling, which is the lowest thing. And you, more than Kathy, more than even me probably now at this point, you've had to deal with that and kind of moderate and shut people down. It's really difficult. Tell everyone what it's like being you, moderating the largest, the 800-pound gorilla of social media sites in Bayside. She's been running it for a long time and doing a wonderful job keeping it stable. Tell them what it's like being you.
Well,
hold that mic a little closer.
I have to say that it could be a full-time job, except I work full-time. So I do this around, whatever spare time I have. And we get hundreds of requests on a daily basis. And it's a little easier now because I can see what countries people are in and where they're living. So I don't have to go to the actual profile to look at it and discover where they're from. So I can hit, decline, and but most of it is decline. But there's like hundreds on a daily basis, and then the reported, there's a lot of reported comments. There's a lot of times where I have to shut down commenting on a post because it's coming so disrespectful and it involves a lot of name calling, which just isn't nice and I won't allow. I think if you have nothing good to say nothing and just scroll on past. It's not fun. I do it all the time on a lot of posts, so I think we just have to remember to be respectful of each other, and we're all allowed our opinions and our comments and what have you, but we should never ever resort to name calling. It's just not a good way to be.
The rest of it is, you can have an opinion that is diametrically opposed to anyone. You don't have to call them an a-hole.
Again, that's perfect. Calling someone a name calling is the lowest form of dialogue. It's the lowest form of communication. If you have to resort to name calling, it actually embarrasses you. You are embarrassing yourself in front of other people by name calling them because it shows that you have nothing really constructive to say and to offer. So every time someone ever resorts to name calling, going, oh my God, why would anybody want to reveal that? That's who they are. So it's not just bad form and unappreciated. It also makes you look really stupid. So the name calling, you want to hold back on that. But if somebody is saying something to you that you know that they don't believe in themselves, but they're just doing it for some sort of purpose, liars wind up exposing themselves, and then they lose all credibility. It's okay, goodbye, good luck, I won't listen to you again. Mm-hmm. So you could be someone that will lose your credibility, and you won't be heard from again. But if you want to make a contribution, then do. And we're all here to learn from each other and to be respectful of each other and to recognize the value of the insights of others. And that's what I want the most from our groups, is everyone to learn from the insights of everybody else. Those are constructive criticisms, constructive conversations, and very valuable. So we are providing something very valuable for all of us to elevate our consciousness with. And I want everyone to be respectful of that and mindful of it. It's if someone is telling you something that they see with their truth. Brittany, who I loved on the Life and Times page, she was so controversial, and people kept putting it down, but she saw things from a certain perspective that I liked. And I was like, well, I like this chick. She's great. I liked what she said. I didn't always disagree with it, but
she was so sweet. Brittany was so sweet.
Hold on a second.
She still is sweet. Brittany is so sweet. It hurts her when people when people just, she has this well thought out comment just for someone to say you're an idiot, like go wear your tinfoil hat. It's so cool.
Brittany is, she speaks her truth, as Gregg said, and that's a great way to put it for her. Life and Times allows political discussion, unlike the Bayside page, for obvious reasons. We have a place that's Bayside-centric, as it should be, and then we have a place that is all things, everything about Bayside and people who have moved out of Bayside. So let me track the political discussions for just a minute and tell you all that political discussion is applicable to Bayside. When somebody posts something political, sometimes another person comes on and their comment is, this doesn't belong, this is supposed to be about Bayside, and yet it's talking about Washington or Tel Aviv or London or wherever. And first and foremost, all politics are applicable to Bayside. So the Life and Times has accepted the responsibility of kind of moderating political discussion, and some of us have an opinion and don't mind sharing it, but in essence, it should be done respectfully, and the people who come on and say this has nothing to do with Bayside, when I say to those people, tell us your Bayside story. There's no Bayside story from you. Tell us what your life here is like. Give us something else to talk about oftentimes the specific people who do not like the Bayside political discussions don't add their experiences. So why are they even on the page if they don't care about Bayside and they don't care about politics? Well, why are they coming in, swooping in like a bird of prey to just pick up the thread and throw it away? So that's a thing that we have trouble with on LNT. Camille has the gift of being able to just say no. Because Christina, the other moderator, Christina Kapura, and I have accepted Gregg's challenge to keep LNT in line.
We've done well.
Thank
Not
you.
an impossible task, but you've done well.
I have to say, I've been doing this for maybe 3 years now, and only 2 people have been blocked. And neither of those blocks had anything to do with politics. It had to do with reports to Facebook and things like that. And I'm proud of that because there is some contentious discussion, but contentious discussion, that the world is contentious right now. Why wouldn't our discussion be too? And then somebody also swoops in with some great little story about what happened or a memory from Bayside that's just, I'm like, oh my God, I was there too. It's great. So just say something Bayside-centric before you pick at other people's conversations.
And something that's important to me is what we wanted to show in our Bayside social media. It is a window into our community and the people of our community and the fabric of our community. And there's so much beauty here, and the people here. It's one of the reasons I love Bayside, is the people in Bayside and what they stand for. When you look at Bayside's history, going all the way back to the farmland, but then when Hollywood, before it was Hollywood, but when the movie industry moved here, which a lot of people don't know, Groucho Marx, Gloria Swanson, her house up the block, Gloria Swanson lived here, Norma Talmadge, Theda Barrett, but the John Barrymore. Bayside has such a great history, and the people that have been here, and it's produced very, very famous people that come out of Bayside. So there's so many wonderful things for people to learn about Bayside. So when they come onto our social media, we'd rather they didn't see the people that don't distinguish us in the light that we deserve. Bayside deserves to be shown in the beautiful light that it is and the traditions that we've had. So we appreciate when everybody is respectful of that and can make those kind of contributions. So try to do that with us too. And also suggesting to us when we do the forums what you might feel about it and how you might feel about the nature of the discussions and how you'd like to go with them. That's kind of what we're trying to solicit as well. Contributions, not just argumentative ones, but contributions saying, hey, I'd love to see this a little bit, I'd love to see that. There have been some times, Camille, I'll let you address this with me. There's someone that's contributed, and he's a Baysider. And so we want to show the fabric of the people of Bayside and what we stand for, and getting to know what their political views are. It's like, what are the people from Bayside? What do they think? So expressing your political views, that's part of expressing ourselves. But then there's sometimes when we have people like Mr. Paul, that a Baysider, an older gentleman, had great memories, posted stuff, and was showing a lot of his personality. And though some people, and even I would have to agree, sometimes there were posts that were not specifically about Bayside. And you think, okay, that's kind of like not what we're looking for in the guidelines. It's not really about Bayside. But then at the same time, he was a Baysider making great statements about Bayside. So when it's something like that, Camille, I'll let you address it, because we'd want to let that guy go and say, come on, keep going with it.
With Roger Paul, that's his name, and he contributes a lot to the Bayside page. He actually didn't want to write anything on the Bayside page again because he was attacked by so many people. And I always say to him, you're a Baysider, you grew up here, you're allowed to make comments, you're allowed to tell your memories. He's constantly reported, and I always keep his post. because to me he's a veteran. He's 80 years old. He's in a wheelchair. He talks about looking, towards the end of his life, and he has a lot of good memories about Bayside. And I just will not allow anybody to attack him. I love reading his posts. They're lengthy, but I go through them all. Sometimes I don't comment on them, sometimes I do. But it's a welcome addition to our page because he adds so many nuances that we don't have. And like I said, at 80 years old, I am so glad that he still wants to spend all that time write about Bayside, his upbringing and what he remembers. And so Roger Paul, we will be keeping on the page. He is staying. And I would suggest that you not report him every time he puts a post in there, because it's always going to be kept. I appreciate what he's doing for Bayside.
One of my favorite Bayside pages, Michael Fine, has the other Bayside page, and it's funny, it's irreverent, it's kind of crazy. You go in there and everybody's having a good time, and it's just funny. But they don't take themselves too seriously. I don't want us to take ourselves too seriously. But there's always been a weird balance where so we set some guidelines for everyone to follow. But at the same time, as Michael Fine will point out, we really are the curators. We set the tone as the moderators for what we want. So if we do set guidelines, and I always call them guidelines because they're not as really strict black and white rules. Dan did a great job. He was helping us moderate the Bayside Queens page for a very long time. Dan, wonderful. I was so grateful for the amount of effort, and Dan did such a great job. Now, Dan was much more black and white than me, and he was more of a military guy. So Dan would say, nope, against the guideline, boom, gone. And I was like, but Dan, it was kind of like soft. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. He's like, no, right, that's the rule. That's it. Like, okay. And so I would go with the way Dan. I'm not stuck. It's not all about me. I mean, I was happy to have created these pages, but I want everybody else to be part of the fabric of it. So I would let Dan go with the way he felt like going. But it wasn't exactly the way I wanted. But that it's not about me. It's about Bayside and about people contributing. And Dan did a great job that way. He was black and white. But sometimes, we look and like with Mr. Paul, he say. Someone goes, so that's not strictly about Bayside.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but so we reserve the right, and I'm giving the right to Kathy, and I've given it to Camille, to make a judgment that if Camille lets it stay, it stays, because she's got really good judgment, and she's got a great sensitivity, and she's really fair. Kathy is unbelievably fair. So I'm not going to put anyone in to moderate these groups who I don't think has a good values and doesn't see things in good generous ways and isn't going to be fair in what they do. We did let a long time ago. I let some people try gave them an opportunity to be moderators, and we had to thank them for their short term. Their short term of doing it because they just found this like power thing. And they were just cutting everybody out. But it is, and thank you. That's the other thing. Please, everyone, you have no idea how much work it is and how many hours, how many nights I stayed up from, getting online and staying till 2 o'clock in the morning, dealing with everybody and dealing with all the issues. And that's why I'm so grateful.
4 o'clock in the morning.
It really is so much more work than anyone ever imagines, and we are not getting paid for it. So no one's compensating us for making these contributions. That's another reason I'm so grateful. We all need to thank Kathy and Camille and Shannon and Diz for the contributions they make, because they're putting their own hearts and soul and the value of their time out there for you. So please appreciate and be sensitive and grateful and respectful to these people. And if Camille cuts you out, it's for a good reason. And if Camille lets you stay, it's probably for a good reason. So we have guidelines, but I appreciate everything from Dan. Sometimes it's okay, it's just a hard and fast rule, but also sometimes we're a little bit more relaxed. If Camille leaves a post there, it's because she's left it there. But and then there's sometimes, and this is the other thing, Camille, I found a lot, Kathy, there's so many times that I got home late from work and I just didn't get online, and then some post went up that should have been taken down, and I got all the reports on it, and 10 o'clock the next morning I logged in and everyone's so mad at me. He's like, you let that post stay, and then they all start doing it themselves. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, give me a freaking break. So I'm sorry, I didn't take it down yet. So if there's a post that's up that you think shouldn't be up, report it, which makes it really easy for us. I try to tell people 100 times, just report it. And then people would and I'm going to hand the microphone to you, but when people would complain to me, you let that person do this and you're cutting mine down, and how come you took mine off and you're not taking this? I said, I just didn't take it off yet. The word yet. So, but if you see something that's up and you think it shouldn't be, report it to Camille, report it to Kathy, report it to me, and we'll get to it. And that helps us help you, help us help you. So, thank you for hearing that part, because that's been a tough one.
I just wanted to say we do need people to report it to us, because we don't have time to go in and look at every single post every single day. So we do it in our spare time. I can tell you that if I roll over in bed and I can't fall asleep, I'll get on the Bayside page and start looking at requests. And I'm like, yeah, I could do this until I fall asleep. But it's a lot of work. I have friends who will screenshot stuff and send it to me because it's so offensive. And then I will go in and look for it and take it down. Yeah. Or I will look for posts that are starting, the comments are getting distasteful and disrespectful, and I'll delete the comments and I'll turn off commenting on the post. But it could practically be a full-time job, but it takes a lot of time to look at all the requests to be added to the page. And it's a very time-consuming process. It's not like you just hit delete, decline.
Well,
so
you also have to leave, for us, we have to leave our own built-in biases at the door. Right now, I have a post that was reported that I don't like. I think it's not, it elevates nothing. But I'm working through my confirmation biases to see whether it should be taken down, or maybe the community will address it in such a way that the poster won't post that again. I am loath to ever take anything down. It really has to be really bad for me and Christina, because we talk about this stuff all the time. She's the other moderator on the page, to decide what goes and what stays. What I would say is, everyone who wants to report a post, everyone who wants to complain about something, everyone who isn't happy while they're scrolling on the page needs to replace what they're seeing with something that they remember about Bayside, or something they know about Bayside, or contribute a positive thing rather than a negative comment. And that's that for me. But the one that's up there now is not good.
we really would like to see a lot more positivity in the pages.
And a lot more Bayside.
And a lot more Bayside, yes.
If we have a story that's being done by our intern program, and if it is about a business, we are going to allow that to be posted on Bayside Queens, so they can, everybody in that audience, the larger Bayside Queens page, can see the work of our interns and our students, because we're teaching them. But so you will see things that will look like a commercial, but it will say clearly, this is the production of the Bayside Live TV intern program, is produced and edited by our students. And if that's there, then that's why it's allowed on the Bayside Queens page. No posting your own advertisements on Bayside Queens. But if you'd like to see your own advertisement and a promotion about your business on the Bayside Queens page, then let us know, and we'll have our interns work with you and work through our intern program. Now you're making a contribution to the students and education of our students. So you want to make a contribution, you want your name and the name of your business promoted on Bayside Queens, the larger page, then make a contribution and let us do it through our intern program with Bayside Live TV's scholastic intern program. Anyway, so work with us, work with Bayside Live TV. If you'd like to have your business promoted and a commercial done about it, and have it put on the large Bayside Queens group, then work through our intern program so that you can join us in making a contribution to our local students.
I also want to add that I would like to see us bring back that random act of kindness that you had put up there during the COVID lockdown, where people would just post in random acts of kindness that they saw at Bayside. Yes, absolutely. I loved it. I think it's so positive.
My favorite things were random acts of kindness and good deed doing. And the good deed doing, I kept saying, look at the positive vibe, post some good deeds, even if it's you're doing it yourself. People say, well, if you're talking about yourself, it's disqualified. It's like, no, tell people that good deeds, it's contagious. So I also love the great romance stories of Bayside and the family-owned businesses of Bayside. We got a great one coming up that I've already promoted and talked about. Food Town, the grocery store on 48th and Bell. I love these people, and I love the store. It's a great store, but it's a great romance story. It's a family-owned business, and it's wonderful people. So it hits like all three categories for me. But the random acts of kindness, to see more of that, and the good deed doing, I want us to bring that back a lot.
Gregg, remember the sandwiches with the 109 precinct? I didn't know what to do, and I wanted to do something nice, and I decided to get some sandwiches together for the 109 precinct for all, no, sorry, not the 109 precinct, the 111 precinct, sorry. No, I live in the 109, which is funny. I live in the 109, but I wanted to get sandwiches together for the 111 precinct, and I didn't know what to do, and if it wasn't for Gregg helping me to pick out Dursos for the sandwiches and just helping me put up a GoFundMe page, because I was going to pay for it myself out of my hard earnings, and he's like, let's get people together to help. And we got a lot of money very quickly, and it was really nice. And I'm not tooting my horn about this, but I just wanted to let people know out there that it was something I enjoyed. I picked up the sandwiches myself and made all the trips and made sure nobody was left out, all the way down to the janitor live. It's to show people appreciation for what they're doing. And I just wanted to thank everybody out there that did donate. And it was fun for me. I enjoyed it. And I have to thank Gregg, because I couldn't have done it without him.
It was fun. We had a good time.